righty, you all set? You guys are all good now? Okay, thank you. All right, just let us know if we need to hold. All right, we're moving on to the reports and discussion items. The first item is report number 25.6-1, purchases of $100,000 to $499,000. Vice President for Finance and Administration, Keitra Rose.
All right, good morning. The one expenditure on this report for this quarter is ongoing cybersecurity software. So this is an annual expense that assists in our mitigation of cybersecurity risks. Just for a little bit of context, Rapid7 monitors login information, password attempts, your IP addresses, et cetera. So that is the one expenditure on this month's report, or this quarter's report.
Any questions on that? I would simply note the very frugal nature of your spending with one item. Thank you. All right, the next is report number 25.6-2, budget and financial data for the quarter ended March 31, 2025.
The report before you is a third quarter update of the all fund sources. This was, the all funds budget, was presented and approved at the September meeting, so the quarterly data is relevant to the budget that you passed. This includes all fund sources, so it's not just the income fund or just our auxiliary system, but all university fund sources. The university community, as you've mentioned multiple times today, has made great efforts and strides in not only addressing the continued structural budget deficit, but also making immediate decisions that have had an overall positive effect on our cash flow. We still need to remain vigilant as financial stability has not yet been achieved, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about the ongoing financial efforts as well as the quarterly update provided.
So we know that spending is down because, of course, we're trying to rescind everything we can possibly rescind to close that deficit. Why is revenue down?
Sure. So revenue is down because of our head count from an enrollment standpoint, as well as our occupancy, as well as then some other revenues, whether that be grants, other charges, et cetera. So you'll see a decline in each of those three line items from a revenue standpoint.
Do you want to walk through some of the things that we discussed as far as closing that gap? Mm-hmm. Obviously, we started with walking into this, a $22 million deficit. Some of that is a carve back from the previous year that we were already behind. But just, I just want you to have everyone have some good insights of how much work this group has done.
Yeah, absolutely. So the budgeted deficit that you were presented and approved in September was for $14 million. At this point, our revenues are on track to meet and potentially exceed the $186.8 million. And our expenses, as you would have already noted, are on track to be much under the 200.9 that was approved. So overall, our early projections would say that we have mitigated this deficit from 14 million to around 5.5 at this point.
Those are pretty amazing numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are incredible, and I just want to commend your team and the hard work and careful, meticulous dedication to every cent that flows through your office and that of your team. And looking at the financial data and spreadsheet, it was really impressive to see where we were 6 months ago, a year ago now is just so commendable and impressive, and done exactly what the board has asked you to do. So congratulations. Thank you.
The thanks really belongs to everybody that stands behind me and that's listening today. It's not an effort of one individual at all, and we obviously wish the circumstances were very different that we stood up here today, but we are ready for a time that we can invest these resources in programs that have so much potential to grow with the right financial investment. So we are getting there.
Thank you. Still work to be done, but progress definitely noted.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So it's interesting to note that misery does love company, because I don't know whether you've spoken with, I look at ISU, I look at Northern, I look at SIU Carbondale, they're going through all of the same exercises that we have painfully, with Keetra's great leadership, gone through. But, you know, we're not alone in this endeavor that's out there. And then just one comment. So my first years in the Senate, I sat next to the legendary Judy Bartopinka, who became the state treasurer. And she said, when you're in a crisis, it's always good to have someone at the helm who throws nickels around like they're manhole covers. So keep up your great work. She used to laugh about her bohemian ancestry, but she would always say, you know, when you're in a crisis.
Madam Chair.
Good counsel. Yes.
Just real quick comment. I want to look beyond the numbers real quick, and I pay attention to how people look, and I look at how they stand. And I remember looking at you when you first took the helm. And I also, and this is no knock or anything, but I saw the despair in your face. But I'm standing here now, and I'm looking at your posture with a forward posture and a smile and giving a report. I don't know if anybody else is picking up on that, but that shows me a bright new day for Western Illinois University when my financial person can stand here at a different posture. That shows me that we have grown and we have traveled down a road that you can now stand there proudly with a report with integrity to say, and that shows me a bright future. Thank you, Keisha, and your team, because you don't look like what you've been through, let me tell you that. But thank you for being a ray of hope for a lot of folks, more importantly, our students. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the other thing I would add was the transparency. It was very, very difficult for us to get information. I know, talking to even, Dr. Robinette in the past, I'm like, do you know anything? Like, we would both try to, see if we could get any type of information, and since you've stepped up, you've opened the books. Yes. You've been, honest about where we stand, yes. And I think you're willing to share that with anyone. There are no secrets, just, seeking advice, counsel, ideas, and whatever, but you've really made a difference. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Just to further illustrate the transparency, I mean, the report that we got from you and Renee in terms of the cash balances was just fascinating, even in terms of that progression and stability that has grown. And the correlation, not only do we receive current updated data, but we have comparables to compare that to, most recent years and where we were, again, 6 months ago, a year ago, in FY23, it's fantastic to have those numbers and show the work that we've been doing is paying off. So thank you again to you and your team for that data. It's really interesting. Yep. And valuable.
Thank you. Okay, report number 25.6/3, report on external audits. Keitra.
All right. So attached is a report on our external audit findings from fiscal year 2024. Standing currently at the least amount of audit findings compared to all of the Illinois public institutions. I would like to commend the university staff that devote their time and compliance, or their time to compliance and regulatory agencies, while also maintaining constant service to our students and staff. So a full report is available on the Auditor General's website, but I'm happy to answer any further questions that you may have at this time.
Kelly?
So in our pre-board meeting, you mentioned that some of these internal problems, like control over student enrollment reporting that is a repeat offense, and internal controls over return of Title IV funds, and these are repeat offenses implies that we know we should be doing better, but what you told us is that this is really timing, and that the rules change so rapidly that sometimes it's hard to keep up with the schedule for some of these things. Do you want to articulate a little of that so that people understand that we're not just watching these things go by year after year and making the same mistakes over, but there's a reason why?
Yeah, absolutely. So of the 6 findings, 5 of them are repeat. We have made significant efforts to address each one of these, but They are repeat because they either come down to timing, timing of change, or other competing efforts, right? It's more important that we maintain compliance on some of the services that we're providing to our students than whether we had somebody go put a tag out on an asset that was recently required, or, acquired. So especially those first two, we have made significant efforts, but have had turnover in staff or a lack of staff that have been able to perform some of those duties. But those I would anticipate to go away in the near future, maybe not for fiscal year '25, but definitely for fiscal year '26. Those are the two that show up on our federal report, because they do deal with federal funds that we receive, and so of course the resolution to those is of our highest priority. And then some of the others, again, it is just a lack of staff or a lack of timing, and new regulations that are popping up all the time that we have to maintain compliance with. So thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit more about what our staff are doing for those.
That's helpful. Also, while we're talking audits, obviously, internal audits is not really on the agenda today, but Trustee Wise has served as on the audit representative for the board. And I just want to call out Rita Moore. I mean, holy, she is so detailed and so dedicated, right? I mean, it's nice to have someone, first of all, audit's an interesting job for an interesting individual who wants to do that kind of work. And I'm always grateful that someone is that type of a detailed person that's going to make sure that we're living our values and we are following things and we're in compliance. So I got to join the committee call with Derek. Would you say she just does a great job?
Again, just a completely thorough and dedicated report by Rita and her team to make sure that Western is in a good place. And I learned a lot hearing from what the team had to offer. And we're in good hands with this team because, again, we have some assurance that the report has integrity and that it can be relied upon. So it was great. So.
Okay. Right. So we are done with that one. Report number 25.6/4. Report on externally sponsored grants and contracts for the second and third quarter. Mark Mossman.
Thank you. You have the report in front of you. I will just note that this is for the second and third quarters. During the second quarter, we were ahead of where we were last year, and took a bit of a downturn now from where we were last year with the third quarter. Shannon Sutton always taught me to say, and I will say this probably until these numbers are off, that FY '22, '21, and '20 should be ignored because those were COVID years, and so the numbers are incredibly inflated. In general, we're landing right approximately where we usually are. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Polly?
So the grants here for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, I think probably everyone knows that the House voted to rescind the next 2 years of funding that had already been approved by Congress, and then it goes to the Senate, so we're expecting, there's a possibility, we all hold out hope that the money is not pulled back, but do we have a contingency plan in the event that happens?
Both President Mendrip and I have been working with Dawn Schmidt and others in particular. Christy, do you want to make a
Sure,
comment?
happy to comment. The impact on tri-states as well as WQPT will be deep and significant. And so this was a significant percentage of each of their operating. So there will be significant changes and deep cuts where they will have to make some decisions. The university continues to join them in advocating for the importance of public media. We'll continue to do that and work with them on ways we can work together to try to influence a positive outcome.
I'd just like to reiterate, and I know this has nothing to do with what we all believe we should be doing, but the NPR affiliate in particular is the lifeline for emergency notifications in West Central Illinois, and if we lose that, we have lost an amazing resource.
That's right, and both NPR and PBS have a hand in that emergency response system. And so that's a critical piece it's one of those behind-the-scenes pieces of community impact of public media and contribution to our region.
It's either going to fall in of one of your next 2 to 3 reports up here, but I met in the back Heidi and Jennifer, and they were just talking about the work that they did in museum studies. And we know that was kind of in an awkward position based on the way that it was funded. And I just want to call out, just whether it's not really a grant or it's a contribution, but I know Jennifer's raised money, and Heidi, they figured out a way to move forward. And since they're here, I just wanted to publicly say thank you for stepping up and leading and showing the way that it can be done. So congrats to them. Okay, anything else on this one? So I'll move to the next one, report number 25.6/5, annual listing of academic program changes. Mark?
So you have the report, it is long, and, but that is, I just want to make sure that the board understands that's always a good sign. If you have very few academic changes to the curriculum at your university, you're not really meeting the responses of the community. So we have both degrees, programs, new courses, programs, and then we have, of course, phase-outs and so on. So the university's curriculum continues to evolve. It continues to evolve to meet, again, our communities, the needs of our community, and to provide those, again, the transformative higher education that we deliver at Western and have for a long time. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Maybe you could just review for us again. We had the conversation, the last board meeting, about programs that would be either temporarily suspended or paused or being phased out. There were a couple of them that we talked about, one being physics, some of the other ones that, obviously we looked to see where they ended up on the report.
Sure.
but-
So the Master's in Sociology, for example, was a to-be-determined program. We've met with them extensively and agreed to, basically take the program off the elimination list, and the program is developing an online program, and we will check in to see where we are in the progress of that program in a year. And I will note, just as the political science master's program is doing the same thing, and so we have a number of programs that are like that are developing online offerings to try to increase their enrollment and their viability. The physics program, unfortunately, we had a couple of retirements in the department, and that really kind of narrowed the path forward for physics. So we are going to eliminate the masters, but I am meeting with Kishore Kapali on June 30th. Both Christopher Pines and I are meeting with him to talk about different options for other kinds of graduate programming that he's actually working on that would involve affiliations with other universities. And so it might be, again, innovation's key here, right? And so it might be a new innovative way to continue developing and teaching grad students. So.
Thank you.
Just basically said some of it, but what is the main difference of the why for the phase out as opposed to the temporary, what is it, the temporary suspension?
So a temporary suspension, you're stopping admission to the program, and you're putting the program on hold while things are reorganized. So when I first came into the provost in 2018, we put a temporary suspension on the history master's program in order for the chair, who was then Jim McNabb, to retool the program and to work with her faculty to rework the program, and then it opened up again the following year. A phase out leads to an elimination, because the phase out, you'll have students existing in the program who need to be taught out of the program, and so that's the main difference.
Right, so with that, is it because you don't have the faculty interest to go through the things you just said that you did for the history department, to where they had the interest to where they're going to keep their department alive, and you just don't have the interest anymore?
Are we talking about the physics?
No, I'm all
specific?
over the place.
Okay.
I'm down here in the, well, I see physics, but then right above that is kinesiology, and then instructional design and technology and et cetera. But what I'm saying is it because you don't have the faculty that's gonna take it and find different innovative ways to keep it, or?
No, I mean, there's no evidence that there could be student growth in the program and enrollment growth in the program, or those kinds of things as well, so.
Erica?
Mark, you efforts to be very strategic and thoughtful about the Innovation Hub here at the Quad Cities. And can you talk a little bit, just holistically, about maybe some of the programs that are going to be our rising stars and sort of the signature Quad Cities
Sure.
experience and academic programs?
Sure, so, of course, we have a long history of education, and we are opening the new Early Childhood Center in mid-July, and so that's an example of maintaining programming here. And so I think one of the crucial differences in this approach is with an innovation center, is that you're trying to develop academic programming that aligns directly with community needs, rather than saying we're going to have a branch campus where we have the same portfolio of courses, degrees and courses that we would have at a main campus. And so that's part of the drive, is to look at the curriculum and say, okay, this directly it impacts the community. Counselor education is another example, directly impacts the community. And again, we've long been involved with manufacturing, and so with the QCMI, and so investment in engineering, and trying to figure out really how our role in workforce development with the QCMI in particular. So that's basically it. I mean, and so again, thinking about it in terms of this center needs to be a hub of where a lot of intellectual energy happens, a lot of innovation happens. We're talking about maker spaces, all those kinds of things. That's where we need to be. And so that's the purpose.
Great, thank you.
I had one more question. I don't know what you like to do on Friday nights, but when you call Dr. Pines and you say, I want to go through this line by line on a Friday night, he took my call, so I appreciate that.
Only because I was on vacation, just to be clear.
Or it would have been you, right? But anyway, I appreciate it, and I learned a lot going through it. I think one of the things that stood out to me were the number of concentrations within each degree. So one, I guess, is how does a university stretch out like that and have so many? And if I was in a concentration, now that you're consolidating those, was it like one class that was different, or is it 4 or 5? I guess I'm trying to understand is how different could all of those concentrations have been? And are we worried about, someone's, mobility going forward without, those specific concentrations, or we're going to cover it?
I think we're always going to be worried about the students, what kind of education the student is getting, and whether or not they're getting the appropriate credentialing to move forward to wherever they're going to go. But that being said, what we have or have had is an abundance of concentrations and specialized minors and so on that have a handful of students that just simply aren't enrolled. And so that's when we're working on contracting the curriculum and thinking about how efficient we can be in delivering, again, the schedule, delivering the degrees. We have to balance both, right? We can't really in these financial times support a specialized concentration or emphasis area or minor in a very obscure field that will enroll 2 students one first year, 3 students the second year, 1 student the next year. It's just not sustainable. And so the challenge then is to both contract while still meeting the students' needs.
And I would just add too, that all of that leads to, when we used to talk at board meetings about low-enrolled courses, the saturation of options, eventually, especially when you have a population decline, you're going to see an increasing number of low-enrolled courses because there are just so many choices.
That's right.
I had a quick comment on that too, and I think the consolidation of courses really isn't a bad thing. I think it's more of a good thing when you look at, and I've met other students who go and study agriculture at other universities, and they have, their majors in agricultural economics, to be super specific. But instead, I think it's great that Western offers your undergraduate degree in agricultural business, and then you have this wide variety of classes you're taking that include agricultural economics and business and other aspects in the field that you're going to go into. So I think the consolidation side of things is a good thing for students to have a well-rounded education and go into the workforce and have a broad aspect on where they're going to be working at.
Yeah.
So that's just my
Yeah,
2 cents on that.
it's a really complicated set of issues because you also have like in education, I'm thinking of, for example, where you have so many standards that have to be met from the state of Illinois that it's understandable how hard it is to develop a curriculum where all those standards are being met within a certain number of hours. And so it's a very complicated set of problems that, it's not static. It's a constantly evolving problem, which is why when you get a report with a lot of curriculum changes, that means we're working on it, so.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you, Mark.
Yep, thank you.
All right, next is report number 25.6/6, report on contributions, Executive Director of Development, Amy Crosby.
Good morning.
Morning.
We've had a busy few months in advancement and alumni relations. We are down a few development officers. Liz Goujon left in mid-April and Taylor Onion left at the beginning of June. But we're happy that we were able to move relatively quickly, and I'm excited to announce that we will be welcoming a new development officer to the College of Business and Technology on July 1st. And the search is ongoing for a new person in athletics. So we're seeing a lot of good forward momentum, and we look forward to having a fully staffed development team soon. Despite being down a few positions, we had a very successful Western Challenge. Tim Hallinan and his team led us in raising $410,000 from over 1,000 donors, finishing just shy of last year's numbers. We continue to move forward with our priority of campus improvements, including classroom renovations and the Commodities and Trading Lab, and I hope to have an update soon for a few classrooms and some music practice rooms. I would like to echo Provost Mossman's praise of the Carnegie Hall performance. I was not able to attend personally. My daughter was speaking at her 8th grade graduation. But Patrick Downing and Amy Spellman represented the division and reported extremely, extremely positive experiences for both students and alumni and friends alike. I want to highlight that Drew Donahue has been working very hard to finalize our alumni magazine, and it looks phenomenal. We're excited to feature our first alumna president on the cover, so be on the lookout for that magazine hitting your mailbox this summer. And then finally, I would like to share that Amy Spellman has been working with admissions to envision some new alumni events for this fall and winter that will offer some unique opportunities for our alumni to connect with prospective students and help with our recruitment efforts. So you should be receiving invitations to some of those events in the coming weeks and months. We're going to have a very busy fall. Our annual Celebrating Generosity banquet is on September 13th. President Mindrup's inauguration is October 16th, and homecoming is October 18th. So we look forward to connecting with you and alumni and donors at those events. If anybody has any questions?
Any questions for Amy? Erica?
We have heard some, maybe rumors of some possible big staffing changes in the alumni area. Are you able to share anything formally yet?
Not formal. Amy Spellman has announced her intention to retire in the coming year. We don't have any date set yet, so that will be coming in the future.
Okay, and
Yeah.
are you and your team already beginning to think about succession planning for
Yes.
that department? Okay.
Yes, and I don't have anything to share yet, but
Okay.
we're starting to talk
Super.
about it and what will happen, yeah.
Thank you.
Then we'll wait to celebrate the other Amy,
Yes, yes,
perhaps at another meeting then. So
Yes.
by not saying anything, we'll try to hold on to her for a while.
okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Amy. All righty. Report number 25.6/7, repair and maintenance of the official residence. Keitra.
Per the established board guidelines, the report in front of you highlights the maintenance that has been performed on the university official residence to date for this fiscal year. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. Obviously, you can see that this year is really just about maintenance. There have not been any significant projects there, given its listing.
No comments? All right, we'll move forward to the next one. Report number 25.6/8, financial aid report. Keitra?
Right. So I had good afternoon on this, so congratulations to you for proving me wrong. So good morning again. The attached report highlights the workings of our financial aid office and the importance of both state and federal programs that are administered by this staff. As highlighted in the report, 80% of WIU students are receiving aid in some form, whether that be federal, state, institutional, or other direct funds that pay for their educational experience. We cautiously watch all political and environmental pressures associated with these aid programs, which do include the ones that are within our control as well, so to navigate the best possible outcome for our students. This report does look a little different than it has in the past. The Board of Trustee regulations simply say that we must give a report annually on the happenings of the financial aid office, but given some of the changes that have happened recently, I really wanted to highlight, and our financial aid staff wanted to highlight the importance of these financial aid programs to our students and their success. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
This is a really good report. Talk a little about the unfunded mandates, with the veterans and those type of programs. How does that impact us?
Well, as you can see, it has a multi-million-dollar effect on us financially. These are great mandates to comply with. We just obviously wish that there was some funding that would come along with them. We have seen small movement in receiving some funding for the Illinois Veterans Grant Program and the Illinois National Guard program, not nearly to the extent that we have carried that cost for multi-years, but I do take that as some positive progress that folks in Springfield are hearing us as we comply with these things with no funding attached to them. This is just the unfunded mandates that are tied to student financial aid. So if you want to see the full comprehensive list, Zach and I are happy to provide that at any time. But these are just the ones that are directly affecting our students and their bills.
I just want to call attention to how vital that is. In reading the report, it was 39% of our students received the Pell and MAP grants. That's a huge percentage of our students. And, Cody was chatting earlier about the changes in the MAP deadline, June 5th. And I think it just has such a ripple effect. And again, just highlighting that number, I think, almost 40% is
Yeah.
a substantial number of students.
It's significant, and to Trustee Lang's comment about keeping students in the state of Illinois, the Illinois MAP grant is obviously designed to do just that and to help our students pursue their education in Illinois, those that do show financial need. 2 significant changes have happened to MAP in the last 6 months. In December, late December, around December 18th of 2024, the Illinois Student Assistance Commission notified all public institutions that essentially MAP had been over-awarded, so they would be reducing the award for the current fiscal year to the students that were MAP eligible. And that could have had an effect up to $500,000 for our students in funds that they would no longer receive that they were originally promised. Our university foundation stepped in at the time and said, if the student continues to show financial need, that they still have an outstanding bill because their MAP has not paid, or they were shorted, it was around $364, I think, per student, the foundation would step in. And so they did do that. They awarded around $20,000 to our students that still had an unmet need that was changed at the last minute by the state. And then the second thing that has happened is we were notified around June 2nd-ish of a June 5th deadline or a suspension of the MAP awarding. And so again, that has an effect on those students that will come in the upcoming year that had not yet filed a FAFSA. And as we know, many of our students are first-generation students and are navigating earlier deadline implied is disappointing to us. So I also wanted to just share this information so that you all can continue to advocate for these types of programs at the state and federal level and understand our students' importance, the importance to our students on these programs.
Keitra, you may not know the answer to this, but with that sudden shift in the deadline, there'll be a percentage of students who won't be getting the MAP funds. Do you have any idea what percentage of that is out of the overall number that we expect to have MAP funding?
I don't, but we're working to get that number. So of course, we don't know what students haven't filed a FAFSA yet and that are going to come here, right? But we have, with the enrollment management team, been looking at some statistics of the types of populations of students, and then looking at, are there some one-time awards that we can award to those students in, in replacement of MAP for this year, and then knowing that we will help them meet that deadline for application in the near future. So we're still working through some of that, but I can't pinpoint the exact impact yet.
Any other comments? Cody?
I had a question, and this might be really hard to predict as well, but how many students, from this point or from June 5th, when those funds were canceled, do we normally have send over their FAFSA to Western?
I don't have, I'm not going to be able to get that information in the next few minutes, but I can try and follow up with you because we did pull some of those statistics. So I can just give you a roundabout number of how many in previous years have filed a late FAFSA and then matriculated and were eligible for MAP, so that you can have a context to this conversation.
That would be great, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Keitra.
thanks.
All right, next up is athletics, Director of Athletics, Paul Bubb. Just to share how fun I am, I tried to get Paul Bubb after my long conversation with Dr. Pines on Friday, but he was grandchildren, grand-dog sitting, so we got to speak all day on Father's Day.
Grand fur babysitting is how it's referred to, and yes, very.
So thank you for that, Paul.
Happy of doing that. Chairperson Stutz, trustees, and President Mindrup. Trustee Wise, I need to make adjustments to my stance. You've got me thinking about that now. There's part of this I want to be like this. But I'm going to try to battle through that. You have our report, just a couple of things that I want to talk about just real quickly and briefly. And Cody brought up the Greeks and their GPA and retention. I'm equally proud of our athletics and what we do. Our overall GPA for our women this spring was 3.56. For the men was 3.1. So overall, athletics had a GPA of 3.28. Women's tennis team led the way with a 3.729. And I'm really proud of that because our women's tennis team has really moved up from where they were a couple of years ago. Luke Olgren has done a great job with that team. We had the freshman of the year in the OVC this year, and the team finished the regular season in second place. Our men's golf team as well, with using a graduate assistant really as a coach, finished in seventh place in stroke play in the OVC out of 11 teams, and they had a GPA of 3.36. So again, very proud of the accomplishments of our team. Women's basketball made a nice run at the end of the season and ended up being invited to the WNIT tournament.
We won a home game against Lipscomb before losing at Illinois State, but again, very proud of our teams and what they've been able to accomplish. I'd be happy to take any questions in addition to the report already submitted. Oh, I thought you were dismissing me. I was ready to, okay.
No,
Chairperson Stutz?
yeah, I think the whole NIL, the whole opt-in, paying athletes, whether I agree with it or not is a whole different thing. It is so confusing. So you have the ability to either opt in or opt out. Could you just give us a little primer on what that means again?
So the NCAA, as a result of what's known as the House settlement, has come up with a new way of distributing funds to student athletes. If you decide to opt in, what that means is each of your teams has a scholarship, or excuse me, a roster limit to the number of athletes that can be on your team. If you opt out, you're basically following what the old rules used to be, where each team is assigned a number of scholarships, and you can spread that out over however many are on your roster. There's only 3 or 4 sports that have what's called head count sports. That's men's and women's basketball, that you have to give a full scholarship to them if you follow the old. Opting in is what is being done by, at this time, probably close to 90% of the Division I institutions. They're going with the roster limitation is what they're going to be following. And what that means is, I'll use football as an example. You can have 105 football players on your roster, and previously, at the FBS level, they were limited to giving 85 scholarships. Now they can give scholarships to all 105 of those. Within FCS, which is what we're a member of, we are limited to giving the equivalent of 63 scholarships. If we opt in, we can give up to 105, but as President Mindrup and I know, and Keitra, we don't have any additional money to give, so we're limited to that 63 equivalency. But we can spread it out over 105 players now. Also, where name, image, and likeness comes into play, you can now package name, image, and likeness money into those awards that you're giving to the student athletes, or the funds you're paying them. Opting in has become the way of the future in Division I athletics, and certainly in the Power 4 conferences, which is the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12. If you remember football, Ohio State winning the championship and basically had a payroll of $20 million for their football players. And that is the direction that Division I athletics is headed. I agree with you. Philosophically, I have a very hard time with this, but my philosophy doesn't matter at this point. It's what is taking place and what we're moving forward with. We have set in place, and we'll be getting ready. I'll be sending to Tori very shortly a contract with a company that will serve as a collective for us, which we will be able to have write the awards, excuse me, the contracts with our student athletes that will be receiving additional money and payments. No, I do not anticipate that Western is going to be giving $1 million contracts out, but I do feel confident we will have student athletes that we will be paying anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000, $25,000 a year as we move forward. Opting in, when I wrote this report originally to you, my mindset was that we were going to stay out this year, but as more things have come clear to us, actually there's probably more of a fear of doing something accidentally, which will automatically opt us in and not knowing it, and that's by the over-awarding of the scholarships or something like that. So at this point, there is not a cost difference in one or the other, but I think our best option is to opt in at this time and to follow, if you will, the new rules that govern Division I athletics.
Thank you. That's
I don't know
really
if that made it
helpful.
any clearer
No,
or not, but
it's really helpful. Thank you.
So the going forward, and you anticipate at some point that we'll be paying 25,000, where does that money come from?
It'll be privately fundraised. It will be money that we raise through other revenue sources that we work out. Clearly, I'll have to work very closely with Vice President for Student Success as well as Vice President for Finance on how we use the revenues that we create that could help fund that. But corporate sponsorship money can fund that, private contributions can fund that. With the collective that we're going with, they'll have the ability, a donor would have the ability to go online and actually make a gift through the collective to a particular student athlete that they want to support.
These new positions, or these positions and staffing, are any of those new positions?
The ones that are listed, no. There are no new positions listed, but one that's come up that we do feel like we're going to have to add is a position called the GO position, if you will. And the NCAA is expecting institutions to have someone designated that is the lead person on all NIL. At the staff that we have right now, in the amount of work that's going to be required, we don't have a person that can do that, to be quite honest. So we have a position that we haven't filled that's still on the books that had worked with academics in the past. We have part of the funding for that already that's on the books. And we are looking at how we can use additional NCAA funding to complete that salary. That would be it's a position we didn't have this past year, but it's a position we're looking to bring back.
One more question, sorry.
No, that's fine. I haven't dropped my shoulders yet, so I'm trying to keep them up.
So on the NIL, and you go through this company that you're gonna contract with, was that a bidded out contract? Is there a bid on that? How much is that?
So the pricing on that, and Keitra, I hope I didn't do anything wrong with this. She doesn't know about it yet. So the contract, this particular company works with, they basically base the number of contracts that they oversee, and it's for a set price. One of the concerns that our coaches had was that there are companies out there that will actually take a percentage of what the student athlete is going to receive as their fee. I was very particular in making sure that I didn't want a donor to feel like they were giving money, but part of it was going to the company. We're paying that fee ourselves. We're taking it out of revenues that we have created. It's not coming out of our regular operating budget, but it'll come out of privately raised money that will cover that. So
So it didn't have to be bid? Or
It's
it's
under-
not, it's not a set amount, I guess?
it is a set amount we agree to, and they've got a graduated scale that's there. It's $30,000 a year to oversee 20 contracts.
I see.
Again, my understanding was that we're fine with that type of, that size of a figure. We did not have to bid that out.
I have a question about the turf. You're talking about, some great fundraising dollars. I appreciated in your report highlighting the success that you've had in fundraising, and obviously, given your background, that's no surprise, Paul. Any indication of any sort of corporate or maybe individual sponsors, donors who would be interested in naming rights to the turf and the field itself?
I think that one of the things, it is already named for Rock Hansen. It's Hansen Field.
The field is, the turf is not.
Well, the field is the turf. So I'm looking bigger, I guess. What I'm trying to say is, I would like to see us take the opportunity to look at naming the stadium that would have Hansen Field. So I've been part of one of those before, and I think that's the appropriate way to go. I've started working already. One of the things that we have that most of you who've been to Hansen Field recognize is the west grandstands are not in the exactly best shape. The east grandstands were done through student funding back about 2010, I believe, is when that was all done, 2010, 2011. And we're starting work on right now on what we would like to propose be done with the west grandstands and the replacement of the turf as well, and moving forward with a significant project there that we would be looking for private funding and the naming opportunity for.
Do we have any viable prospects that have the capacity and propensity to do that at this time?
I've got you at the top of the list, and be happy to add anybody else with that, Erica. So, I think that, and we're just in the very beginning phases of this. I'll work very closely with Amy Crosby and the Development Office in developing that list. There have been major prospects and continue to be major prospects for athletics that have the capacity to do that.
Sure.
We just need to motivate them to be willing to step forward. And I will say this about the football program. Joe Davis has done a tremendous job in raising money in the 2 years that he's been here. A year ago, they had a goal of raising $70,000, and they surpassed that in the spring. This year, they had a goal of $100,000 and surpassed that. And so Joe is working extremely hard in developing those relationships, and we plan to take full advantage of that as we look at that prospect pool.
Yeah, those fundraising numbers are impressive. I appreciated the matching gift component as well there. A different direction, can you speak a bit more holistically about, as we've talked about the decline in student enrollment and admissions and recruitment, how is that impacting your ability and that of your teams and coaches to recruit student athletes to come to Western and play?
I think the biggest thing with that, our coaches do a tremendous job. A big difference maker. So we continue, and our coaches continue to attract top student athletes. I think the biggest thing is that as a university, as we've downsized, one of the questions I get constantly at games is, where's all the students? Well, when we had 10,000, 12,000 students, and if 10% of them showed up, that's 1,200 students at a game. And now where we're at, if we have 10% of the student body show up, that's half of that. And I don't think we're that far off, but I certainly think we can do some things. And again, working with the Division of Student Success, I think that we can do some programming to increase that for our attendance. But I don't think that that has a direct impact on our student athletes that are coming to campus. We're still getting full rosters. I think as we downsize academically our programs, that will present some challenges as we look there in terms of our majors. But I think that we're doing a very good job, and Jeremy, I know, working with the academic affairs and representing our interests there, has done a great job in helping us make sure we have those majors available that we need. So I don't know that, other than having a sense of a larger crowd, but also wanting to program for our students and seeing athletics as a major part of the campus experience, the collegiate experience. I mean, that's one of the benefits I think you have of a residential campus is all the programming that you can provide, whether it's in the new Performing Arts Center or at Hanson Field or Western Hall.
And as we talk about the evolution of programs and consolidation might be a tricky word, but and putting you on the spot here a bit, but is there a handful of majors that you consistently see your student athletes declare and graduate with? Or like, is there a trend, like the majority, top three are going with this major or this department? And if the answer is you don't know, that's fine.
It's broad-based. Our student athletes are in all types of programs. I've been surprised at the number of nursing students we have. Nursing being a very difficult major, though, sometimes it's very difficult for them once they get to their junior year for that commitment. But I think our student athletes are broad-based in their courses of study, and I don't think that there's going to be a significant impact. I think that we will be able to maneuver through this.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
So one of the things I get a lot is that the university has had to downsize because we've had lower enrollment, but athletics hasn't. And I'm just throwing it out there. I know you're not prepared for this, and I should have told you that question in advance, but.
I feel like you just lobbed me a softball,
Oh.
to be quite honest. Because athletics started downsizing in 2010. I mean, one of the persons I continually have conversations with is Tim Van Alstine, former athletic director. Find me another program in the country that has that at the Division I level. It's unheard of. We've replaced full-time assistant coaches with graduate assistant coaches. And thank goodness we've got a good graduate program that's allowed us to do that. And those people are getting valuable training and certainly going on to coaching positions. But we downsized starting in 2010. And with our strategic plan that we did in 2023, we again continued to look at how we were sized and what we were doing. You talk about unfunded mandates. You know, we've got a Title IX proposal sitting there right now that really involves costing the university some additional funding in addition to come into compliance. Now, the current administration, not university administration, but the current administration overseeing our laws, I think may not be paying as much attention to that as what I am, because I do, and I am committed to Title IX and gender equity. But again, we went through a strategic plan, we laid out our plan. There's members of the current university administration that were part of that strategic plan. So I feel like we put together a good plan, and for those that think that we haven't downsized, we have over the years. If we need to continue to downsize, we'll take part in that process, however it's required of us to do. But to those that say we haven't, they need to compare us with other similar institutions and what they're doing. But thank you for the questions.
Okay. Oh, good, good.
One last touch on that. My freshman and sophomore year, athletics wasn't really a thing I noticed that students went to. And when you came in, Paul, the last 2 years that I've been there, there's just been this explosion of students who go to basketball events, football events, and it is so much fun. And I am not by any means knocking Macomb community, but sometimes there's not a whole lot of things to do. But athletics has always been there as a staple for us students to be able to go, and community members to go and watch games. And it's just been terrific. And I think pulling more funding away from that not only takes away from our athletic student experience, but also the general student who's not participating but going to watch those games, because I know there is a strong leatherneck support in athletics, and I think it would take away from our overall general experience if we don't have a robust athletic program. So I appreciate all the work you're doing, and thank you.
I share that passion and that thought, and I know that studies that have been done show that a vibrant Division I athletic program is essential to the success of a regional state institution. And I believe that, and I want to support that as long as I can and as much as I can.
I agree.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've been told that the lunch is ready, so I guess it's a good time to break. Can we do 30 minutes? 30 minutes, okay, so it's 12:35. We'll be back in session, 12:35. with the resolution or the action portion of the meeting. The first one is resolution number 25.6-1, amendment to the Board of Trustees Regulation, Section 4, subsection J, intercollegiate athletics policy. Do I have a motion to approve? Second? Second. Okay, so I've got trustee Wise and trustee Lang. Let's open for discussion. Dr. Mindrup?
Okay, thank you. The Board of Trustees regulations cited in Section 4, subsection J, ties a percentage of the amount of appropriations that can be specifically allocated to athletic programs. The first reading of this proposal was presented in March and posted for public comment to be considered. No comments were received. This proposed regulation change does not mean further university dollars will be allocated to the athletic program, but instead will allow for WIU to strategically plan for the future of athletics and the financial sustainability of the institution, but utilizing multiple fund sources like many other student success operations.
Let me read the resolution really quick, I'll just read the beginning of it and the second portion. Whereas the Board of Trustees has previously adopted regulations for Western Illinois University, and whereas revisions to those governing regulations are necessary in order to improve administrative efficiencies and financial planning. And then I'll skip down to the second one. Whereas, as you just mentioned, the first reading of the proposed amendment to Section 4, subsection J was presented in the report of March 20th, 2025 at the meeting of the Board of Trustees. Whereas the proposed amendments were publicly posted to allow for written comment pursuant to Section IA2B of the Board Regulations. Therefore, be it resolved that Section 4, subsection J of the Board Regulations be amended as follows by striking the language indicated in subsection 4J2 below. All right, any other discussion? Okay, roll call for a vote.
Low Mullins,
Yes.
Dillard,
Yes.
Stutz,
Yes.
Cornell,
Yes.
Lang. Yes. Wise.
Yes.
Radosh.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0. All right, resolution number 25.6/2, fiscal year 2026 preliminary spending plan. That would be with Keitra Roselieb and University Budget Director Renee George.
Do you need to vote to
Okay,
approve?
I will read the resolution and open it up. So it says, whereas Western Illinois University prepares a preliminary spending plan prior to July 1 for state appropriated university income, auxiliary, and all other funds for the Illinois Board of Higher Education, Illinois State Legislature, and the Governor, and therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approves the fiscal year 2026 spending plan as presented in the fiscal year 2026 spending plan document, and be it further resolved that the president be authorized to make technical adjustments in these budgets if necessary. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second? Okay, I've got trustee Radosh and trustee Dillard. Open for discussion.
All right. So this resolution presents a conservative step to the all funds budget that will be presented at the September meeting. At that time, expenses from fiscal year 2025, all funds to this preliminary spending plan have been reduced in all fund sources by a total change of $7.5 million. Further reductions will be must be solidified, to be presented in September alongside the revenue projections at that point for fiscal year 2026. Happy to answer any questions at this time.
I'll start. So, yes, thank you. We've gone through this line by line, and we certainly know that this is not the right number. But where I really hope the number comes, and I'm probably looking over at Justin Shu, is that the revenue side comes in, so we can keep this number, which would be the ideal situation. You know, we can't just continue to cut. We really need to continue to. So no pressure, Justin, but you step it up. I see some of the bigger changes, obviously, been in the old terminology personnel, I guess. That I still laugh at that when I see that name. But because like, I think when I was at Western, they were already changing it to like human resources, not even personnel anymore, and that was in the 70s, so not sure why we still call it that, but, okay. The biggest reductions were there, and then also, what were some of the other, grants and awards as well. So can you reflect a little bit on that and how we're gonna get to those numbers?
Sure, so obviously some of the personnel changes are reflective of some of the decisions that have been made this year. Also, they have been mitigated by some of the contractual increases that we are obligated to for fiscal year 2026. So still continuing to solidify what those projections look like. I would anticipate further reduction before we get to September. Not, when I say a further reduction, not that anyone that has not yet received notice would receive notice. It's just us solidifying the actual fiscal year 2026 obligations that we have and what our future needs will be. And then as it relates to the change in awards, grants, and matching, you're seeing the changes that we have made to our Western Commitment awarding, as well as the order of pay in which students are receiving aid. Those things are matriculating through, as well as a decline in enrollment. So that's where the reduction there has come. And I also anticipate that that number will drop even more significantly once we know what our total enrollment will be and what our obligations to students will be.
Remind me again, the Western Commitment, there were 3 different levels, and it dropped by what, $1,000 in each level or something similar to that?
Yes.
That's correct, okay.
Freshmen and sophomores in the next year will be at those smaller amounts.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? I mean, I'm prepared to support this number, but based on what we see from enrollment, we'll look for a number to match that number, but let's be optimistic and hope we bring in more great students. So no other comments? We can take a roll call vote.
Radosh? Yes. Wise?
Yes.
Lang?
Yes.
Cornell?
Yes.
Stutz?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes.
Lowmullins? Yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
Motion passes.
Can I answer the question that Trustee Cornell asked earlier about MAP
Oh, sure.
eligibility for students? So that you understand the impact of the deadline, 29.3% of our freshman class and 34.5% of our transfer class applied or submitted their FAFSA after the June 5th deadline of last year.
Wow.
So that decision certainly has an impact on our future students, we would assume.
And there was no notice of that except for a couple of days. It's tough.
Thank you.
Okay, resolution number 25.6-3, tenure recommendations for the 2025-2026. And that's going to be by interim provost and academic president, vice president Mark Mossman. I will read the resolution. Whereas the attached tenure recommendations are in accordance with Article 20 of the 2023 through 2026 collective bargaining agreement with UPI Local 4100 and applicable board regulations. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Western Illinois University approves, as presented, the tenure recommendations for 2024 to 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Trustee Wise?
Second.
Trustee Low-Mullins? Open for discussion. Mark?
Just briefly, all of the candidates before you, the 9 candidates, have met the requirements for research, service, and teaching in their department. And again, it's in accordance with our collective bargaining unit. These are all excellent candidates. At every single level, they were approved. And so I personally fully support their tenure and promotion.
Any comments? Sure. Dr. Lang?
At the bottom, where the provost, why is that called provost right there?
I'm sorry, where?
The titles, it says art and science, business and technology, education and human services, finance,
Oh, I'm sorry.
fine arts and
I
communication.
see where you are now.
Library, and
Trustee
then
Lang.
that says provost, why?
Because, that's because the Law Enforcement and Justice Administration Department was moved temporarily out of Cohese and into the provost's office directly. So the tenure recommendation came through, at the dean level, came through the provost's office. Yep.
Good catch.
Thank you, that's a good question.
Just congratulations, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the rigor, because I've learned this from, and the discipline that it takes for being on the board here, that this is, no easy requirement to reach this level. So yes, congratulations to all. All right, with that, can we take a vote?
Dillard,
Yes.
Stutz,
Yes.
Cornell,
I fully support this, but I believe I have, do I have to
Yeah, he's,
abstain? I'll abstain.
I apologize.
But thanks for your support.
Lang. Yes. Wise.
Yes.
Radosh.
Yes.
Low Mullins.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, motion passes 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations to the
Yes,
tenured.
congratulations. Okay, we are at resolution number 25.6/4, disposition of closed session written meeting minutes and verbatim audio recordings. Tori Smith will be speaking on that. Let me get to the resolution.
Answer any questions about this. It deals with the disposition, as it says, of the written meeting minutes and the verbatim audio recordings.
All right, I will read this very quickly. Whereas the Board of Trustees of Western Illinois University must comply with the Illinois Open Meetings Act 5, ILCS 120-1, that's a legal term, at SEEK or whatever, and whereas the Board of Trustees has reviewed the verbatim record of the closed sessions held on June 7th, 2023, October 12th, 2023, December 4th, 2023, determine whether the need for confidentiality still exists and whether to destroy the verbatim audio recording. There is a list of dates in here that I did not read, but it goes from September 27th, 2018, intermittently through March 20th of 2025. And so therefore be it resolved as follows, that the board has determined the need for confidentiality of the closed session written minutes dated September 27th, 2018, and that goes all the way through March 20th, 2025, that still exists, and written minutes shall be retained as confidential pending future review to determine their eligibility for release. The board has determined that the need for confidentiality of the closed session written minutes dated from December 12th, 2019, with as many dates all the way through June 7th, 2023, no longer exists, and authorize the posting of the minutes on the board's website. The verbatim audio recordings of the closed sessions held on June 7th, 2023, October 12th, 2023, and December 4th, 2023 are approved for destruction. And the board will review the closed session written minutes and verbatim audio recordings on at least a semi-annual basis. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Radosh
Second.
and Low Mullins. Okay, discussion. Tori, do you want to start?
Yes, I'm happy to answer any questions about this. This has to do with the disposition of the audio recordings that we do in closed sessions are eligible for destruction after an 18-month period, and so you see 3 dates that are eligible for destruction. Those are June 7th, 2023, October 12th, 2023, and December 4th, 2023. And then there are a series of minutes whose confidentiality is appropriate to maintain, and other written minutes that would be appropriate with your vote for release, public release.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Oh, Dr. Lang?
As long as there's no harm to anyone, then I don't see any problem with it. But if it's gonna harm someone, then I would have a problem with it.
I totally respect what you're saying. I know we've all read the minutes that we are releasing, and obviously it's in a closed session, we're very limited on what we can speak about, but then we do speak about performance. And I know that if it were me that was the subject of one of those, I probably would never want that to be released, that it was discussed in private, that it was fairly and thoughtfully discussed, but it's a private matter in some situations, and I know there's probably a lot of different opinions out there. But I am feeling like these minutes that we are putting forth, there's no harm. So appreciate that too, because I agree. All right, roll call, please.
Stutz?
Yes.
Cornell?
Yes.
Lang? Yes. Wise?
Yes.
Radosh?
Yes.
Low Mullins?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes.
Okay. The motion carries 7-0. The next is resolution number 25.6/5, election of trustee to serve on the State University's Civil Service Merit Board. And the resolution reads, whereas the State University's Civil Service Act 110 ILCS 70 established a state university civil service system under control of the board known as the University Civil Service Merit Board, hereafter referred to as the Merit Board, and therefore be it resolved that blank was elected on June 17th, 2025, meeting of the Board of Trustees to serve as the representative of Western Illinois University to the Merit Board. I would like to nominate once again Dr. Keisha Lang, as she served on the board and knows the system well and has added a valuable voice. So that would be my nominee. Oh, thank you. Twisting her arm. There might have been a little arm twisting. No, no, you always step up and serve when asked, so. Should we vote on this one, or do we need to then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still need to have the paper copy, and we still need to go through the roll call.
Okey-doke.
Can I have a motion?
Yeah, so first of all, is there any other discussion? Oh, we don't motion, thank you. Yes, so a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, I think I got Kurt first. So it's going to be Low Mullins and Dillard? All righty, now, any other discussion? No, nothing else then? All right, so we'll fill out your ballot.
Fill that out. I'll come around and pick
We
those
just
up.
write in the merit board the person's name.
Yes. Well,
No, you just check the box.
Just check mark. And then I'm going to go ahead and go through roll call. Is that fine?
Yes.
Or do I do it after we?
you have to read the ballots.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Chicagoland Cable, we got Southwestern Illinois.
Okay. All right, there's a unanimous and supportive decision for Dr. Lang, so do we need to do that on the roll call, I guess, to approve, right?
Why don't we go ahead and read her name so that
All right,
therefore is.
let me do it
and then
again.
do the roll call.
Therefore, be it resolved that Dr. Keisha Lang was elected at the June 17th, 2025 meeting of the Board of Trustees to serve as the representative of Western Illinois University to the Merit Board. Roll call, please.
Cornell?
Yes.
Lang?
Yes.
Wise?
Yes.
Radosh?
Yes.
Low Mullins?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes, thank you.
Stutz?
Yes.
Thank you, Keisha.
Yes, thank you. Okay, that motion carries 7-0. Thank you and congratulations. Appreciate the work that you're doing. All righty.
So,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Susan, we're just about to go to the election of officers, and I would like to ask us to pause just for a couple of minutes before we elect the new officers, so that we can recognize Karen for her leadership on the board. You in the university community see her in one way, and that is a very efficient chair who asks hard questions, always prepared, tries to hold the administration to account. Her skills are essential, and we have vastly benefited from those skills over the last couple of years. We see a different side of Karen on the board, and that side also deserves some recognition. She's brought a consistent, respectful, focused approach to her leadership on the board, and she's united a very fractured board. I don't know if you all remember, but we had some tough times as a board, and she brought us together as a cohesive, respectful group of colleagues, and we are all very grateful that she was able to unify the board, and it has made the university run more efficiently as a result of what she's done. I've been chair before, so I can tell you it takes a lot of time and a lot of attention to do this job. We wish she could stay on. We're limited because of the board regulations that limit her to 2 consecutive terms. She's probably glad to be done. We're not glad that she's done. We wish that she could stay on. She has provided outstanding leadership both to the university and to the board, and we just want to take just a moment here to pause and thank her for that. And
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to serve. I love this place, and I love all of you, so thank you.
I'd like to add a comment or two also, if I could. Trustee Stutz, Karen, it's been just absolutely an experience of a lifetime to work alongside you, especially this past year. Like I said to Trustee Wise, thank you for your belief in me and your encouragement and your support and your just total trust in this amazing team that we have as leadership. As the team that inherited so much, both challenge and opportunity, I think we want to thank you for the work you've done over the years to ask tough questions, to ensure that the university was taken care of. In fact, has a bright future. So thank you so much for being available for texts and calls over the last year or so. And just thank you for all you've done for Western.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very honored. Thank you. Okay, now we can move on to, thank you. That was very unexpected. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to find my notes. Here we are. All right, we are at resolution number 25.6/6, election of officers of the board for the July 1st, 2025 through the June 30th, 2026 time period. And it says, whereas Western Illinois University Law 110 ILCS 690-35 to 25 states, members of the board shall elect annually by secret ballot from their own number a chairman who shall provide over meetings of the board and a secretary. And let's see, therefore, I guess I can go on. Therefore, be it resolved that the individuals elected at the June 17th, 2025 meeting of the Board of Trustees shall serve as the officers of Western Illinois University Board of Trustees for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Dr. Lang and Trustee Cornell. All right, any discussion? Or do we just go to our ballots?
It was entertaining that they put Doug on here. I was about to vote for him.
You know, I texted him and he said he really misses us and there's a little bit of a withdrawal. So if you're listening, Doug Shaw, you are missed.
I was really trying to bring him back, Keisha.
Obviously, we've done a little work behind the scenes and find it, and we have a good insight of who's willing to step up and to serve. So at this point, I guess we can go ahead and fill out the ballots, and Athena will collect those.
This just goes to show what Dr. Radosh was just talking about, how your leadership has really brought us together and crossed that line to where we are a cohesive team, and that we're not in the dark places where we were before, that we are rising and we're moving forward. And I'm just so happy to be a part of the team. And thank you for serving for us.
Thank you. You play such a valuable role. You are the voice of every student that attends the university or wants to attend the university, and that's exactly why we're here. Okay, we have a decision. Our new chair will be Dr. Polly Radosh. Congratulations. I will stay on as vice chair, and Erica Lowe Mullins will be the secretary. So let me read the resolution for a roll call, and, we can applaud first. Okay, therefore be it resolved that the individuals elected, Polly Radosh, chair, Karen Stutz, vice chair, and Erica Lowe Mullins, secretary, are elected at the June 17th, 2025 meeting of the Board of Trustees and shall serve as the officers of Western Illinois University Board of Trustees for the period of July 1st, 25 through June 30th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Lang,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Radosh,
Yes.
Low Mullins,
Yes.
Dillard,
Yes.
Stutz,
Yes,
Cornell.
Yes.
Thank you.
all righty, that is official. Polly, congratulations.
Congratulations, Karen.
I remember Doug Shaw, right? He was like, I am not leaving here until this gavel passes hands. All righty, let's go to another more fun, this is somewhat of a celebratory session. All righty, let's see, we are at resolution number 25.6/7. I hope your parents are listening today, Cody. Proclamation for student trustee Cody Cornell. And, let's see. Just to the page. I know you. All right, I'm going to have Dr. Mindrup read the proclamation, and then I've got a couple of comments.
Very good, happy to do so. Whereas Mr. Cody Cornell has provided exemplary service to the students of Western Illinois University as their representative to the WIU Board of Trustees beginning July 1st, 2022, and continuing through June 30th, 2025, have been elected by his peers to serve 3 consecutive terms. And whereas Mr. Cornell was elected by his fellow trustees to serve as the secretary of the board from July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. And whereas Mr. Cornell conscientiously represented student interests while serving as liaison between the Board of Trustees and the Student Government Association, and as the former Director of Academic Affairs for the Student Government Association, and served at the national level as a member of the Alpha Gamma Rho National Collegiate Advisory Council and the Student Advisory Committee of the Fraternity and Sorority Political Action Committee Board, contributing to advocacy efforts for student organizations nationwide. And whereas Mr. Cornell actively contributed to campus leadership through involvement in the Alpha Gamma Rho fraternity, where he served as noble ruler, and through his participation in the Ag Vocators team, Interfraternity Council, Academic Calendar Committee, Honors College SWOT Analysis Team, and the St. Francis Catholic Newman Center. And whereas Mr. Cornell has earned numerous recognitions, including a nomination for the Lincoln Laureate Award, selection as an Honors Convocation Marshal, recipient of the Dan and Laura Webb Pre-Law Scholarship, recipient of the New Member of the Year Award from the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life, a nomination for the Kinsey Tiemann Emerging Leader Award, recipient of the George Washington Carver Award from the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and selection as a Dean's List Scholar for his academic excellence. And whereas Mr. Cornell furthered his commitment to public service and policy through his internship with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, National Institute of Food and Agriculture in Washington, D.C., and his work as the National Intern and Ambassador Coordinator for Prairie Hills Resource Conservation and Development, Incorporated. And whereas Mr. Cornell has demonstrated unwavering dedication to the mission of Western Illinois University and to the success of his peers through leadership, service, and academic achievement.
That's amazing, Cody. Since it is a resolution, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, all right, so I've got trustee Dillard and I have trustee Wise. Okay, and so we're open for discussion then. I've had the opportunity, as you've heard all those different things that Cody's been involved in, to write letters of recommendation. So this is, it's just heartfelt, said, Cody is an absolute treasure. He's an outstanding representative of our fine university, bringing a voice that needs to be heard. I am humbled as I watch him navigate and lead discussions with clarity and purpose at such a youthful age. He's already modeling characteristics of a seasoned leader. He's a true champion for our students and the community, making several trips to our nation's capital to advocate for important causes. I met Cody in July of 2022 when he joined the Western Illinois University Board of Trustees as the student representative. Having witnessed 2 previous students in the role, both intelligent and engaged, I can assure you we were excited and hopeful that Cody would be as impressive as the others, as the students' insights must be heard, and the board seat gives them an important voice. However, Cody wasn't like the others. He took the role to a whole new level. He prepared for the meeting by taking the initiative to meet with each person that he would be reporting with in advance. He came to the meeting asking thoughtful and high-level questions with confidence and respect. He stood out. A kind and humble student with incredible leadership qualities, polished in his communication skills, he had everyone's attention as he was polite but direct and so well prepared. He's a student that gives you hope and faith in this next generation of leaders. And as a restaurant executive and a board member, I would hire him for any company I lead, as he's the type of individual you find a spot for, knowing that he will improve your culture, your innovation, and your results. You are a gem, Cody. Thank you for serving. We'll miss you. Beautifully wrapped.
And I'll say both gifts were created by the School of Engineering under the direction of Raphael Obregon. So something
Nice.
to remember what the university produces and the greatness of our students.
This is incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's a resolution?
Yes, open it.
Okay. Okay, while he's opening, that is a resolution, so we do have to vote, according to our general counsel over there. So I think I know you're doing that, but if you can do a roll,
I
can,
can do it all.
maybe Matt or Ben or somebody can do the roll call.
I've got it. Wise. Yes. Radosh.
Yes.
Lomolin.
Yes.
Dillard.
Yes.
Stutz.
Yes.
Cornell.
Yes.
Lang. Thank you. And this beautiful wrapping job is Lonnie Garcia. Wonderful job.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I love it.
Love that.
It's very
We gotta wrap my gifts.
Me too, let's use her.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow. Woo.
This is incredible.
Is that cool?
Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.
Cool.
If I could say a couple things too, I have to. I had some comments actually written down, but I think I'll remember it all by heart. First, I have to say thank you to our university leadership and all the VPs, and getting to work with them for 3 incredible years. This is actually where I had my first board meeting at. I was telling some people that this morning. I didn't even think about it till this morning. I was walking in here, and I was so nervous and I was shaking, kind of like I am now. And this is where I get to finish my last board meeting as well, and it's an incredible feeling to get to do that. One of the things, Athena, that you always said whenever I would come into the office and I was like, hey, can I get reimbursed for this, for something while I was on the road? And she said, yes, you can. It's the only perk that you get as a student trustee. And looking back on 3 years of serving as this, that was not even close to the only perk, Athena. It was getting to work with everybody up here. on the board with you, Athena, with you, President Mindrup. The life lessons that I've learned, the mentorship that I've had is unparalleled to what any other student could experience, and you all are the ones who gave that to me, and forever I'm grateful for that. I don't know if, I think of every opportunity I've had in my life, and I trace it back to being able to serve on this to everyone that's sitting around this table, and I'm very grateful, and I can't wait to come back for Western football games, Western alumni events, and get to see everybody again, because I'm truly grateful. I also have to give thanks to the students who voted me in for 3 years. I got to meet so many incredible students across campus here in Quad Cities and Macomb, and it's truly, and I know I've said it multiple times, what makes this university so incredible. It's not me sitting up here. It's none of us board members or vice presidents. It's truly our students. And this place has been home for 4 years, an incredible home. I know I'm leaving in very good hands. I've made a lot of great friends here, and I'm very grateful for everyone. So thank you very much. This means a lot in the world to me, so thank you.
Thank you, Cody.
You know, you can come back. You
Oh,
can come back as another trustee.
We will see. I would love to do that, though.
That Kirk did that, you know.
That's right.
We'll have to. I would love to do that. And follow in your footsteps. I think that would be incredible. I remember one of the first things you said to me, Kirk, was, or during a board meeting, was I used to sit right where you were sitting as a student, and that just opened my eyes to the world and opportunities that I have.
You're the best student trustee I've ever seen at any university.
Thank you very much.
It's true.
Thank you.
I
Thank
have
you.
to agree. You're going places. You
Thank
you remember all of us now when you're up there. You know?
Always.
No, I love it. Okay, is there any old business? Any new business? All right, our next meeting will be September 26th, 2025 at the Macomb campus, both open and closed session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, we're going to take our two departing as the final ones. Okay, Trustee Cornell and Trustee Wise. Roll call, please.
Radosh?
Yes.
Low Mullins?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes.
Stutz?
Yes.
Cornell?
Yes.
Lang?
Yes.
Wise?
Let me think about it.
All right, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Congratulations, and again, thank you to both Cody and Derek and Polly. Congratulations. Erica, congratulations. Keisha, congratulations. And the rest of you, we know you're always here to help. So again, thank you, everyone, and the meeting is adjourning at 1:15. Thank you. We're done.